On first blush, Assassin's Creed Mirage feels delightfully familiar, delving into storylines and gameplay moments that are reminiscent of the earliest games in the franchise. Having only played about 3 hours of the game, it's still too soon for me to make a definitive call on how the whole experience will play out, but it certainly feels like fans who have been waiting for a return to the series' original formula may finally be getting what they want with Mirage. There's a heavy dose of Assassin's Creed Unity injected into Mirage's veins, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey's detective-driven hunt for the Cult of Cosmos informs Mirage's Order of Ancients assassination missions. But this game is the closest feeling to the first game that the franchise has been in years.
Do you think we need luck?
The latest mainline game in the 15-year-old action-adventure series, Assassin's Creed Mirage sees you play as Basim, a street thief who joins an army of trained killers who vow to protect the freedom of humanity from those who wish to take it away. Taking place in 19th century Baghdad, Mirage takes inspiration from the series' roots, featuring the return of social stealth, a smaller map size, and a singular playable protagonist. Some of the series' newer RPG elements make a return, they are much smaller in scope. No constellation-sized assortment of perks and skills like in Valhalla. In my time with Mirage, I got to play through 3 different parts of the game. First, I played through what's likely the first level of the game, with Basim yearning to be a part of the Assassin Brotherhood's precursors, the Hidden Ones. All the trademark narrative setup for an Assassin's Creed game is on full display in this first part. Basim is a cocky and brash individual who's good at climbing and has dead parents, just like almost every Assassin's Creed protagonist that predates him. After that, the preview skipped ahead to Basim's early days with the Hidden Ones, before then skipping even further ahead to a story mission where he's tracking down one of the leaders of the Order of Ancients, the precursor to the Templar Order. The final part of this preview was my favorite. Being let loose in an open-world city with a main objective to pursue and side missions aplenty is my ideal Assassin's Creed experience. I didn't have enough time to explore the entire city of Baghdad, but a quick glance at the map did remind me of Unity's Paris in terms of size. Buildings are densely packed together, providing ample opportunities to parkour from one point of the city to another, but free running is sadly not as smooth and fast as seen in Unity or Syndicate, since Basim feels a little heavy at times. Reminds me of how Connor or Edward controls in comparison to Arno and the Fry twins. Basim jumps where I tell him to, but he does not descend from rooftops all that gracefully and can occasionally get stuck on a window corner. It feels far better than the past few games at least, but Basim is thankfully much easier to control and more nimble than the likes of Bayek, Aya, Cassandra, and Eivor. Basim is also a remarkably less capable fighter in comparison to his action RPG counterparts, which took a bit to get used to after being able to solo armies as Cassandra and Eivor. A well-timed parry opens up most enemies for an instant kill execution, but the guards you face in Mirage don't mess around. When Basim is spotted, they'll call for reinforcements and work together to box in the Hidden One. If you're only dealing with a couple of enemies, Basim is fine, but once that number goes beyond 3 or 4, you can find yourself in trouble. The few times I tried to fight a group of enemies, I was either destroyed or survived with a sliver of health. At least from what I played, Mirage encourages you to avoid open confrontations. Basim is far more capable of stealthily eliminating guards one at a time or sneaking by all of them outright. I like this a lot. It again reminds me of Unity, which made Arno a capable duelist, but not a one-man army, especially since enemies would not wait their turn and all attack Arno at once. In Mirage, combat reinforces the notion that Basim is a trained stealth operative first and foremost, and so your hidden blade, throwing knives, smoke bombs, and other tools are far more effective than a sword. This is helped along by the welcome return of social stealth, allowing Basim to blend into his surroundings long enough to reach his target. The stealth system has taken the newer games into account as well, but like everything else, it more closely resembles the original Assassin's Creed games. You could hire people to fight on your behalf and distract guards, for instance, or act all innocent sitting on a bench as the guards run by. The biggest adjustment to how stealth works is in how guards respond to you. As Basim's illegal actions are noted by citizens or guards, his notoriety increases. This causes the level of response against him to climb. My time of the game wasn't long enough to see this system fully in action. I played the entire preview pretty stealthily, so I'm not sure how this feels in practice, but I'm eager to see for myself. I hope it feels like the institutional organizations behind the city are taking note of you and trying harder to stop you, further encouraging you to avoid direct conflicts and play things quietly. I think that would go a long way toward heightening the ongoing threat of the Order of Ancients and making it feel like their presence is trying to constrict the city. The final part of the open world segment was an assassination mission, structured like the black box missions first introduced in Unity. The mission I played saw Basim needing to find clues that would hint at the target's identity, leading me to uncover they would be attending an auction to buy a specific item. When that item was up for bidding, I deduced the target based on the clues I'd uncovered. They didn't have enough to outbid the other people there, and neither did I.
Sold to the man over there.
Following the auction, I snuck into the buyer's private quarters and secured the antique so I could successfully pose as them and sneak into the target's chambers with antique in hand. But I couldn't get past the guard protecting the target as I didn't have the credentials to move through that space. A nearby vendor offered to give me theirs in exchange for money, but while I was pickpocketing loose change to meet that price, I overheard that someone had been confiscating those credentials. So I just snuck into their base, killing a few guards to avoid detection, and looted the credentials I needed. That got me into the target's chambers, and offering the antique for sale got me close enough to stab them in the neck. Unfortunately, I killed them in front of a lot of witnesses, so I had to make a frantic escape afterwards. Though somewhat linear in structure, I'm impressed by the loose freedom the level allowed, giving me the room to figure out how to accomplish certain tasks during the black box mission, instead of outright telling me where to go next every step of the way. I'd actually listen to NPCs to learn clues and figure out what to do next to reach my goal. The game did provide some guidance with some general objective reminders, but was largely hands-off, letting me explore and figure out how to reach the target on my own. Overall, the structure is reminiscent of the original Assassin's Creed, where protagonist Altair had to deduce his target's identity before going after them. Mirage has you engage in a similar process of collecting clues and deducing a target's identity and then killing them, but in the more open-ended structure of hunting down the Cult of Cosmos in Odyssey or Order of Ancients in Valhalla. Following the preview, Ubisoft told me that I could have played parts of the black box mission slightly differently. The outcome is always the same. Basim always uncovers the true identity of the Order of Ancients member and successfully gets his mark, but how I reach that outcome can be different each playthrough. And so already I'm wondering how much of that mission can change. Could I have circumnavigated most of it if I had enough money on hand to outbid everyone for the antique from the get-go? Is it possible to reach the target without the antique or the credentials on my person? Can I find a way to clear the room of witnesses before killing the target and complete the whole mission with complete stealth? I'm excited to replay the mission to find out and see how consequence-driven the other black box missions are. I'm hopeful for Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think it could be one of the best Assassin's Creed games we've had in years. I already enjoy how much of the mechanics and gameplay loops from games like Unity and Odyssey were used to improve upon the already winning structure of the original Assassin's Creed and the part of the game I got to play. Here's hoping that winning combination exists across the entire experience. For more details about Assassin's Creed Mirage and quotes from the game's world and quest director, be sure to read our full Assassin's Creed Mirage preview on GameSpot.com. And you can stay updated on our continued video coverage of the game by clicking the subscribe button.